Firstly, let me welcome you to this training once again. Okay, my name is Olumide from Xeon Code. I'm a web developer, full stack web and app developer. Alright, so this is what we have been working towards to do. This is the first part of the training, and this is what we want to build as the first part of the first project. And I said earlier that we will be learning, be building projects as we learn, or we learn as we build project as we learn. Alright, so this is what we'll be building for. This is a login and registration projects, okay, and we'll be building this quickly. Now let me first of all beg you to please help me to share this video. First of all, like the video, then share the video. If you are watching on Facebook, try and share. If you are watching on YouTube, just like the video and then be shared to your Facebook page. Secondly, I'll be giving you a project to do today, and I would like you to upload this project on the comment section of the post, wherever place you're watching it. Probably you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. Make sure you screenshot this project or upload it on netlify.app. This is netlify.app is loading. You either upload it on netlify.app and share the project, okay? Share the link, post the link on the comment section of the post of this video, okay? So don't forget that I say you should help me like this video, share, and also make sure you do your own project by replicating, by doing what I ask you to do later on in this video. So where do we start from? In the last class, I showed you some basic things that you need to know in preparation to this training, which is installing extension and some other things like color theme and so on and so forth that you need to know. Now we're moving straight to building the project. So when you want to build a project, for instance, the first thing that you will be given by your clients, most of the clients will not give you UI UX. Some of the clients, okay, most clients will give you UI UX and some will not give you UI UX. And usually the people who does not give you UI UX are those who are just, maybe they just need a quick project, or they are not company themselves. But most companies who have their brand will definitely give you their UI UX. So let's say, for instance, this is a UI UX. This is just a UI design that we want to develop. Let's say, for instance, this is a UI design that we want to develop. Or let's take this Facebook page, Facebook application as the UI design that I want to develop. So where do we start from? Let's say this is the UI design I'm having. Okay, where do I start from? Firstly, we start from looking at the sections of this design. This Facebook page is having how many sections? We have to break everything down into sections. It's just called, let me say it's called like preparation or planning. Okay, you are trying to set out some objectives so that will help you to achieve your goal. So how do we set out our objective? Is for you to study the section. So basically, how many sections do we have here? Basically, if you ask me, I'll say we have two sections. The first section is the nav bar, what we have here. Okay, the second is this, what we have at the bottom. Okay, that's the second. Now, how do we divide this second part? You can see this left part, you can see the middle, and we can see the right part, the right section. I don't know if you get. Now I think that is the same pattern for Instagram. You can see this left part, the middle, and the right part, or the right section. Let's check for YouTube. Let me go to YouTube home. Don't forget to subscribe on my YouTube channel. So YouTube is having also two sections at first, which is the nav, the top, and the bottom. This place. This is called, maybe I can't call it Euro, okay? So this is like the top and the bottom, and on the bottom we have the left and we have this part, the right. So YouTube does not have the middle like we do on Facebook and Instagram, but we can see the left here and the right here. I don't know if you are following, if you get what I'm trying to say. So let's come back to Facebook. So when we want to start coding, let's look at our project. On this project, you can see that we have two sections. So this is the first one, which is a slide. and this is the second one, the second part. So you see the top and the bottom. Do you understand? So just you need to get this, because this will help you to have your code structured very firstly in your HTML. This is how to arrange your code in your HTML. So you just have to know that, okay, the top, you have the top section and the bottom section. Once you know this, once you know how to divide, once you know how to separate your sections, okay, it will help you. It has already helped your design already. So I have the top and the bottom. So in the top I have just pictures, or that is just picture slide. All right, then in the bottom I have some elements, or should I call them elements? Let me call them elements. I have this pagination, but actually this pagination is part of the top. So I have this text, H1 text, this paragraph text, a button, and the paragraph text below, and that is all for the bottom section. So in the top section I have an image, in the bottom section I have some elements, text and a button. All right, so let's start our design. All right, so I said firstly we have two sections. This is section 1 and this is section 2. Now, another thing I would like you to know is I would love to hear your questions. I would love to hear your contributions. I would love to hear your own view about whatever I'm explaining. All right, it's part of learning. We are all learning, and I want to try my best. Even when I eventually get up to 1 million followers, I want to try my best that I will reach everybody's need. When you ask me a question, so many people have been chatting me up, and I'll just have to answer them. I'll just have to reply them. If you chat me up and not reply you, it's because Facebook temporarily restricted my account, because a lot of people have been chatting me up from different countries, and it's an issue for Facebook. You understand? So I'll try as much as possible to answer your question. So how do you ask questions? Just post your question underneath the post of this video, or on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. Okay, so let's continue. So how many sections do we have? We have two. This is one section and this two sections. So in our HTML, we're starting with HTML first. Let me create our CSS file so that we know that we're also doing CSS. So styles.css. CSS means cascading style sheet. So we'll be using, before I come to CSS, let's just come here. So I want to try and talk slowly. Someone said I was talking fast. Okay, let me also zoom this, because someone complained that they were already seeing my code. I believe you can see now. All right, so now where do we start from? We say we have two sections. This is section 1 and this is section 2. How do we do that? So basically we should have this is our body tag. All right, so let's leave this body first. Inside of this body we should have a group. If you are doing React.js, you will notice that in React, when you create a component, all right, a component that should go to your app component where it will be rendered. Now in React, you discover that when you create a component, okay, you discover that you can't have, usually you must put all your elements inside of a particular group, and in React you can use div. It's actually called div. All right, and I think in React Native it's called view, if I'm not mistaken. So now where do we start from? Since we're going to be having two sections, we need to first of all create a wrapper. Permit me to call it a wrapper that will host these two sections. We need to create a big container that will hold these two sections. Section 1, which is the top, and section 2, which is the bottom. So let's create that container. We can call that container maybe div. All right, div is like what we use for grouping elements in HTML5. So we can call that, we can use div elements or div tags. We can use section. Okay, section, though they have their own peculiar uses, but this is what you can use. All right, and it will not be an issue actually. Okay, though it might be an issue in some cases where we have to do some SEO, but I don't really think that is necessary for now. So you can use section. Sometimes I use section. You can use, okay, I say we can use div. You can use section. All right, then you can also create a class and call that class container. So by the way, I'm using VS Code. All right, and on VS Code, if you want to create a class, instead of saying div first and come here and say class, then container, okay, we can just do it this way. Just press, if you are using VS Code, I advise you to use VS Code for this training. Not that other text editor are not good, but VS Code is what I'm using, so it will be easy for you. If you want to create a class, just click on full stop. Click on your full stop and container. Type the name of the class. Container is the name of the class I want to create. I've not explained class, I'll explain that later. So container, all right. So this is the name, and you click on space bar. Just watch. Click on your tab rather, or enter or tab. So I usually use tab. Okay, then that's your class. You've created a class. So basically, what I'm just saying is I want to create a div. This div will now host so many. This div will be the wrapper. Okay, that will host both the top. Let me just create a class for the top. You understand? Then and what? Bottom. I don't know if you get what I'm doing. So this is the wrapper. Okay, this is the top. This is the top. That's the top. And this is where our bottom will come in, which is this. All right, so that is how we're going to be working. So let's now do it properly. So I'm going to be creating a wrapper. I'll create a div and I'll give that div the class wrapper. That wrapper means it's going to wrap this one and this one. So let's do that now. So I'll say div. Okay, then let me give the class and call it. So let me call it wrapper. Yeah, but since we're going to be having just one wrapper, we can just use an ID. All right. Okay, let me just use class. Now, okay, let me just continue. So let me just call this wrapper. Okay, so I have this the class. I created a group, which is this, and I call it what? I give the class and I call it wrapper. So that wrapper will host the top and the bottom of okay, basically. So let me create another div. Okay, and call it. Let me call this wrapper class and give it wrapper what? Top. Okay, then I can duplicate quickly. Since I'm using VS Code, I'll just click on shift to just highlight, shift and arrow, then I'll click shift alt to duplicate. Okay, so wrapper bottom now. I don't know if you get what we are doing. So this is the first one. This is the wrapper, the container. You can call it a container, you can call it a wrapper, whatever. This is the wrapper, okay, or the group that is hosting what? The top and the bottom. So this is the group that is hosting the top and the bottom. So that wrapper is hosting this top and this bottom. If I'm going to be building for Facebook, I'll create a wrapper. Okay, the first wrapper will hold this nav bar, and the second will host the bottom. Okay, so let's say this is holding the nav bar and this is holding the bottom. The inside of this bottom, I'll create 3 div. One will host the left, the other will host the middle, and the last one will host the right. Do you understand? So that is that. If I'm to clone a Facebook, that's what I will do. All right, so let's continue. So in the top bar, in the top wrapper, in the top section of this wrapper, we have some sliding image. In this training, I'll not do this slide yet. All right, I'll not do this slide yet. Okay, if you want me to do this slide in the next video, drop a comment in the comment section of this video and tell me that you want me to do the slide in the next video. Otherwise, we'll just proceed to some other thing, then I'll do the slide later. But we'll just be doing using one single image, okay, for now. All right, so let's do that image. Now for this training, somebody asked me that how will he get the images that we'll be using? All right, so I'll be dropping some link. If you want to get an image, you can visit Icon Scout. You can see this Icon Scout. Okay, I don't want to open it. This Icon Scout. Then you can also, somebody told me about OnDraw today. You can use OnDraw. You can use flat icons to download project assets. It's actually called assets or images. All right, so I mistakenly closed. Why is it like that? Okay, let me open this. So I'm using my laptop. So let's continue. Let's proceed. So you see that what we just have is the wrapper, right, and both the 2 div inside of the wrapper. One is the top and the second is the bottom. I want to just take this step by step, and I want to try and talk slow. I discovered I have to talk fast, and some people from maybe Pakistan or India do not usually hear me very well. Okay, so for the top wrapper we have an image, for the bottom we have some text. So let's just, for the HTML, now I'll be providing the images for this particular project. I will drop the link on the description of this video, you find a link there to download these images on Facebook and also on YouTube. Okay, you can download the images for this project, these 3 images. You download them from there. Then if you want to download other images, you can visit Icon Scout or Flat Icons or on Draw. So let me quickly do that. Let's get our image. Okay, let me copy my image to my source document. So where's my folder? So let me just look for the project file. I think this is it. And for I have icon. These are the images. These are the images. Okay, let me see if I use an icon. Okay, I have 2 icons. So let me just copy both folders into the project file for that. Copy. Okay, so the login and reg. So let me just drop it here. So I'll make the link for you to download this asset for free. Okay, I'll draw the link in the comments in the description of the video on YouTube and Facebook. You can download the link, the images from there. Okay, so now let's come to this place and include our image for the top wrapper. Okay, I'll just say img. img is an HTML tag for adding an image to your website. Okay, so I'm using img tag, usually written like this, img. Okay, then to have source is equals to, and to have alternative. Okay, this alternative is so that in case, just what ought to happen, let me show you the alternative. Right now nothing is showing, right? The alternative is so that whatever thing, in case this file is not existing anymore or cannot be found, then this will show, this should display. You can see that what I wrote there is displaying, and we are seeing that the image cannot be found. So that is the purpose for this alternative attribute. That's an HTML attribute. So it's asking to add alternative. So let me just add it. So now our source is what will help us to locate where the image is on our server. The source is what will help us to locate where the image is found on our server. Currently, the image is found in my server, my local server, local environment. It is found where? It is found in the image and icon directory, the root directory, okay, inside of the parent directory, which is img and icon. Those are where my images are found. So let me locate the image. I'll just what I'll do. These dots, you can just write the folder name, okay, but usually this is how to locate, to go into directory. If what you are looking for is in the same directory, click on dots, okay, one single dot. If it's in, for instance, if it's in another directory, let me see what I'm looking for is not inside of this root. This is called root directory. Let me come to this place. Now, this place, let me show you. This is a source document, right? This is a source document. Login and reg is the source document. This is the root directory. All right, this is a root directory. Now, this source document, this login and reg, this S code, this tutorial is the parent directory for this source doc, for this login and reg. You need to understand this. These tutorials, okay, is the parent directory for this advertisement, host, and all of these stuff, including this login and reg. So if the image I'm looking for is not inside of the root directory, and if it's outside of the root directory, let's say this is what I want to pick. Let's say this is the image I want to pick. I will, instead of doing one single dot, I'll do double dot, then /. You can see that I can access outside of that directory. I can see the advertisement, host. Do you understand? You can see advertisements, host, website for free, all of those things. Okay, once you click on double dot, it means go back one step, go outside of that current directory and go and look for the resource you want to display. Let's say I just click on this one, you see it showing here. Why is it not showing? It's still telling me not found. Okay, probably because of, for some reason, I don't know why it's not showing. So let's just continue. But now what we want to access is inside of this directory. So I'll say one single dot, okay, that is accessing that same directory. It's called root directory, okay. Then you can look at the folder that are appearing, icon, image. Okay, I'll click on image. Then this image, I have the images. I have on board 2, on board 4. Let's just use on board 2. Okay, if you don't show now, I know that something has happened. So this is the image that we wanted to display. So I've added the image there, but just for the sake of this, okay, let's continue. So our top, we've added the documents, the elements we need for the top. Now we're left with the bottom. Am I correct? Am I right? Yes. So you will notice that we have not touched CSS. We are still doing HTML. Okay, I don't know if you have any question in this part. Whatever I've explained, you can ask. I'm doing this step by step. I don't want to do crash courses. Okay, that's why I'm taking it step by step. You can see that I'm not doing, if you are watching the tutorial from YouTube, other tutorials, they'll just tell you how to design login and registration, and in fact they'll just be playing music at times, and you have to just figure out what they are doing. At times they just explain directly, they don't have to touch some things. Okay, now that's because everybody have, that is called crash course, but this is like normal tutorial. So I've not touched CSS at all. All right, so let's come to the bottom, wrapper bottom. On this wrapper bottom, what do we have? We have welcome to Xeon Pay, all of these things. So we have H1 text, we have paragraph text, we have button, we have paragraph text. So inside of this bottom, we have how many elements? 4 elements or 5. H1 1, P2, button 3. What's this? P4. So we have 4 elements. So let's just list them out. The first one is what? Is the H1. What's the H1 saying? The H1 is saying welcome to Xeon Pay. So welcome to Xeon Pay. That is what the H1 is saying. Then what's the next thing? That is P. Take a deep breath and begin banking journey. So that is P, right? P tag. You know what H1 tag is used for? H1 tag is used for writing your heading. It's called the heading tags. So we have different type of heading tags. We have H1 or different sizes. H1, H2 is smaller. Then we have H3, we have H4, we have H5, and I think we have H6. But I don't have time for all of those things. I use H1 and H2 and H3. Though if you are using your CSS. So let's continue. So H1 is our heading tag to write. Now let me just show you how the H1 will appear here. You can see how big it is. When you want to write bold text, when you want to write an heading, usually use your H tag. Okay, H1 tag. The P is for writing paragraph. When you want to write something that is small like this, just use your P tag. You don't have to go up. Anyway, let's continue. So let me write what is the P content. We have take a deep breath and begin banking journey. So let's write that. Take a deep breath and breath should be E, am I right? Okay, breath and begin banking journey. Okay, the next thing we have is our button. Let's see. So we have this, what we have looking nice. The next thing we have is our button. So let's say button, the button tag. Of course, you should know button. The button have some attributes, which is type. Attribute is what's the type of button. We have different type of button. We have submit button, we have reset menu, maybe button. So these are the 4 type of button we have: button, menu, reset, submit. So since we're not submitting any form and we're not trying to reset anything or going to any menu, let's just use button. Okay, for now just use button. Then what is the button content? Let's check. Get started in capital letter. So get started. All right, I think it's interesting, getting interesting. So the next thing we have is this already own an account login. Okay, so let's have that in P tag. Already own an account. Say login. Is there a full stop? No. So let's look at what we have. So this is what we have, looking nice. So this is what they call HTML, and this is how HTML can appear. Basic structure. Now you have to compare this, what we have now, and where we are going to. You understand? So what's the difference? The difference is that now basically when it comes to HTML, we are totally true with this first page. In our HTML, we are totally true. All right, so the difference is that, why is the difference that this one has CSS and this one we have not done any CSS. So what is CSS used for? HTML is used to bring out the structure of the website, how the website will be, basically the skeleton of the website. Okay, while the CSS will be to give everything style, like the painting. I usually use house to explain the building style. start with block. Okay, you just see the building block and all of those things. Then later the person paints the house. Okay, that's how the CSS is. So CSS is a styling sheet to add styling to your website. While HTML is our structure query language, and HTML is very important. You can't do without HTML, but you can do without CSS and JavaScript. Okay, so let's continue. All right, so let's make it look like this. Let's tackle the top first, because the top is making everything look somehow. Let's tackle the top first. Okay, let me change it to Galaxy S20 Ultra. It's still showing the same thing. So let's tackle the first top. How do we tackle the top? Let's look at this top. This top for this is starting from, okay, let me just quickly make a change on this document. Okay, let's just continue. So this top, you can see that this top is starting from here, the top here, and it ends actually where you, in this place you see this pagination. That is called pagination. It's ending there. So if you look at the height, and this is how to plan website when you are developing any design. Look at this, how to plan. This height is starting from here to here. I think it's from here to here. It's longer than from here to here. So in my mind, it's as if from here to here, let's say it's 100%. Okay, let's say it's 100%. Then it's as if in that 100%, the top is taking 60% and the bottom is taking maybe 40%, or the top is taking 55% and the bottom is taking 45%. That's how it works. Do you understand? So now let's go to our CSS now, because we want to start doing some little styling. Let's come to our CSS. So what do we do basically when we want to start writing in CSS? I'll go straight to the point. The first thing for you to do is to set your page properly by removing some margin, excessive margin and padding. You remove margin, you remove padding, and you add box sizing, border box basically. So how do you do that? Because let me show you something. If you don't remove that, you see that there's a space here. Can you see this space between this place and this H1? Let me see. Do you notice this space? There's a space here. Why are we having space? We're seeing this white space is because we have not removed padding and margin. All right. So basically, you have to do that before you start anything in CSS. Okay. So can we do that? Yes. Let's go. All right. So how do you do that? Click on asterisk. In programming, asterisk means all. So click on asterisk. Then use your curly braces. All right. I believe you are seeing my VS Code now. So use your curly braces. Then the first I want to remove is what? Margin. Now mind you, we are using external styling. There are three types of styling in website development. There are three types of styling. We have internal styling. Internal styling is when I come to this H1 and say H1 style is equals to, then I'll add style. Let's say font size. This is inline styling, rather inline styling. Font size, let's say 3 rem. Okay, then you will see that I've added a style. I see that this H1 is looking bigger. Okay, that is inline styling. Meanwhile, edge styling is when I come to the edge and add style, and I open a style tags or style elements. Okay, and I say H1, then I style it and say font size. Font size is what? Let's say 3 rem. So you still see it, and I maybe add color and say color is equals to red. Okay, that is edge styling. That is the second type of styling, edge styling. Then the last type of styling that we have is external styling, where we have to create a style sheet and use our styles here. So now let's go back to what we wanted to do, which is removing some margin and padding. So I'll just say margin. Margin is the space outside of an element, while padding is the space inside of an element. We'll do that as a process. So I'll say margin 0. Okay, when I say margin 0, what happens? Let me refresh. It's looking as if nothing happened, but something actually happened. Let's say now say padding 0. Then you'll see that that's. Are you sure I'm running on? I'm coming. Okay, sorry, I was wondering that what happened. I've not linked my style sheet. So somebody was asking on the page on the programmers group that how do you link your external style sheet to your HTML documents? This is how we link. Okay, if you're using VS Code, just say link you see link. Maybe you want to link CSS, want to link Atom, want to link favicon. If you want to link favicon, this is how to link favicon. Then you enter your favicon. We'll explain this later. Okay, so let's say you want to link CSS, just say link. Then you'll see I want to link CSS, just say CSS. Then this is the tag for linking. Okay, we have the element for linking. We have the link, we have the rel, which would style sheet. We have the href, okay, which is like going to point to where the file is located on the server. Okay, so the name, this is the name of the file we want to link. But where is the file located? My style sheet is actually located here. It doesn't have to be here because, okay, that is where it is for now. So let's now say it's in the same root directory. So I just say /style sheet. Okay, so when we come here, we see that everything is now looking normal. That space is gone. Like I said, the space is gone. Those margins and padding are gone. All right, so I've linked. So for me to also test further that I have really linked, let me say background. Background is a property in CSS, background red. Consider the whole background is not red. So my style sheet is now linked. All right. Now the next thing we want to do is for us to now work on this image. Or let's work on the page first. Now border box, don't forget border box, sorry. Or box sizing rather, box sizing, border box. All right, just add that as well. Always add that as well. In this training also, we'll be doing dark mode and light mode. We'll be doing color theme, how to add color theme to our website. Okay, we'll be doing that in this training. So now the next thing we want to do is this image. We want to style let us first of all style the page. Let's do the page style. Okay, you can see how this is looking. So I said that the top is taking from, let's say the top is taking 55% and the bottom is taking 45%. So how do we do that? Just what we will do. So this is our HTML, right? This is our HTML. This is the top and this is the bottom. So I'm going to be giving this wrapper a height of 100%, 100 VH. VH means viewports, and viewport is from here to here. What you can see, the part you can see of the part you can see. So apparently where I can see my website, the viewport of this particular website is from here, the top to the bottom. So if you say you are giving an element 100 VH, it means it's taking the size, the height of the screen of whatever device you are using. Okay, so I'm going to be giving this wrapper 100 VH. Then I'm going to be giving this wrapper top to take 60% height from this 100 VH, and the bottom, to take 55% height from the wrapper height, and the bottom will take 45% height from the wrapper height. That makes it 100. You understand? So let's do that. So let me bring this wrapper. How do we identify? This is a class. This class attribute, okay, is called identifier in CSS. We have different type of identifiers. We have class identifier, we have ID identifier, we also have tag names identifier. So this class is an identifier. So how do I bring this class to my CSS sheet, to my style sheet? Is by coming here and say dot, okay, wrapper. So usually instead of just writing it, I usually like to copy so that I'm be sure I don't make any mistake. So I'm copying dots, then I can now write my properties. Okay, so the first property I want to write for this wrapper, let me just give it background red to see that everything is working. That's how I test background red. So the wrapper is working. Now you discover that this wrapper is the background, the red background is only taking the height of the place that we have contents in this wrapper. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just watch. In this HTML, in the wrapper tag, wrapper container, all right, we have this image and we have this text here. Okay, so we see that the color stops, the background is stopping at where we have the text. So if I should remove this text, let me remove this text, you see that background will reduce. If I remove the image, you just see that you will not even see any background color again. All right, so currently the height of this wrapper has not been specified. So let's give it a specified height by saying height. Okay, what do I say is going to be there? It's going to be 100 VH. It's going to take the total height of the screen of the device we are using. So I'll say 100 VH, 100 viewports. Do you understand? 100 viewports. Okay, you now see that the moment you do that, you discover that the color background will take over the height of the screen. Okay, take over the height of the screen. So let us continue. Let me try and do something. I think all right. So let's remove this background for now and just leave the height. So we've done that we've given the wrapper a specified height. Now we're left with the two children. So this is the parent div. The wrapper is the parent div. Then these ones are the children. This one is a child of this wrapper. This and that child of the wrapper. So these are children of the wrapper, and this image is a child of this wrapper top, and these guys here are children of this wrapper bottom. So that's how to just share or explain your elements in HTML. All right, so let's continue. So now let's give this our height. Let's give these guys some specified heights also inside of this wrapper. So we can come to our H1, we can come to our style sheet. First of all, let's copy this style name for the top. Okay, then we'll come to our style sheet and say wrapper top. All right, for the wrapper top, we want to also give it height of what? Of 55%. Now let's give it both background color so that we'll see where the height is getting to. So you can see that we've given this height of 55%. If I should remove this height, it will not show anything. Do you understand? It's not even if I give it, let me give it 80% and see. Okay, so it's currently taking 80% of the total height of the parent div. This height is 100 VH. All right, so let me make this 55. So currently it's taking 55% of the parent div, of the parent height. All right, so let's come to the second one, which is wrapper bottom. Let's give it how many height? I'll give it height of what? 45%. 45 plus background blue. 45 plus 55 is what? 100. So you can see what we are having. You can see what we are currently having. So this is taking 45 from the 100, and this is taking 55 from the 100. So let's just proceed and see where we're going to. So let's remove these backgrounds for now. Now for this particular height, for this particular top, all right, that's having height of 55%. Now I would not like to use height. Okay, let's say background red, right? Let me just say something. Okay, this 55. You can see that it's really big. It's really big, and that is because of the image that is inside. So let's tackle that image. Come here and just say for the wrapper top. Okay, you know the image is inside the wrapper top. Then just say img. So this is the wrapper top. Then inside of the wrapper top we have this image. Okay. Now you can see the wrapper top, and how do I target the image? By putting image next to it. Okay, so let's say the width of the image should be 100%. Let me see. Okay, let's say it should be 70%, and it's going to be looking small. Let's say 60%. Okay. But this is how I used to do this kind of thing. Just the way I do it. So instead of giving these guys, instead of doing it this way, since I've given the wrapper a fixed 100 VH height. Okay, then the children, which is this wrapper top, I'll pick this wrapper top. But before that, I would like to use Flexbox to do this. CSS Flexbox. So I'll just say display flex. If I say display flex, these guys will stay in line. They will stay side by side. Okay, just so that they will not stay side by side, I will change the flex direction to column. Okay, they will come back to in this manner. Okay, so since I've given these guys this height of 100 VH, and I've said display flex and flex direction is currently column. Then for the children, just watch, for the children, I would like to use flex basis. That's why I'm using flex box. For the children, the first child, I'll give it flex box of, flex basis of what? 55%. Okay. So if I give it background color now, so you see it appear in this manner, then I'll give the wrapper bottom also flex basis of what? Flex basis of 45%. Let me just give this background just so that I can see the difference. Blue. All right. Now it's looking as if it's still the same thing. Okay, but it's actually not. It's actually this is how I usually do it, and I think this is also the best way for me to do it. Okay, so don't forget, I converted it to a flex box. Then I use flex direction column. Then I'm using flex basis. Flex basis is that the space that the container will cover inside of that particular wrapper is going to be 55 for the top and 45 for the bottom. So now let's come back to that image. Now before that, let's come back to the image. Let's go to the image directory. So our image is inside of the the wrapper top. So I have the image there, right? So I just come here and just say wrapper top, the image. Let me give this wrapper top width of, let's say 60% width. Now don't mind you want to give our wrapper, okay, you can just give the wrapper width of 100%. This is actually not necessary, but just give it width of 100%. Now in order for us to make sure that this image is staying at the middle, this is how we do it. Where you have the wrapper top div, okay, because currently you can see that the image is staying here. The image is staying just at one side, okay, and that is the default location. It's going to be staying at the top and the left. That is the default location. So for all the content of this wrapper top to stay at the middle, in order for you to centralize any element inside of a particular container or wrapper or div, if I want to bring any element to stay in the middle of a screen or whatever container, this is how I'll do it. I'll go to the class or the element itself, then I'll convert it to a flex box. I'll say display flex, okay. It will just look like this. Then I'll say align items center. You usually align items inside of a flex box, okay. So the item, if you say align item center, is that it's going to bring it at the center here. You can see at the center. If I say instead of center, if I say flex start, it's going to take it up, and if I say flex end, if I say flex end, it's going to bring it at the bottom. You understand? But it's good, let it come to the center, okay. Then I'll say justify content. Justify content is going to align it horizontally. Align item is going to align it vertically. If I using justify content, it's going to align it horizontally, okay. If I using align items, it's going to align it vertically. This is a problem for so many people. This is a challenge. Align item will align it vertically, or justify content will align it horizontally, and that is if you are using flex direction row. But if you are using flex direction column, justify content will align it vertically, align item will align it horizontally. Don't forget that. So justify content, okay. I also say what? Center horizontally. So it's actually currently at the middle. All right. Now there's something my browser is behaving somehow, and I've been trying to be. I just know that it's not supposed to be showing this way. I don't know why it's actually behaving that way. Let me see. So that is how to tackle that. I don't know why my browser is behaving this way. It's actually loose. Could it be? Bear with me. Let me just check something. I know. Okay. I was wondering because it's actually that browser that is behaving that way. You can see. In fact, that wasn't why. It's actually, you can see that this is actually displaying well. It's the browser, that current tab. Okay, so these are supposed to actually display. Okay, don't worry, these are supposed to display. Right, so let's continue. If you do this, I know you will not have that issue in your own. Okay, you will not have that issue in your own. So let's continue. So we have 55 top to bottom and 40. At the top and 45 at the bottom. Are we good? Now, just for me to explain that centralizing a particular element on the div. Let's try and centralize all of these guys. Okay, in order for us to centralize all of those guys, it means we add our display flex to this. Okay, so let's come here for the bottom, wrapper bottom. We have it here already. Let's say display flex. Now that will give us an issue because everybody will come side by side. All right, so how do we address that? Instead of using, we address that by different methods. So but this is what I'll just do. I'm just trying to explain something. Okay, this is what I'll do. I'll just come here and put everything inside of a div, all of this inside of a div. So that will be normal. So after adding display flex, I'll say align items, bring everybody to the center vertically, and justify content, bring everybody to the center horizontally, and you can see that it's actually at the center. But that's not what we want to do anyway. So let's remove this. I'm just explaining. I just was stressed on that. All right, let's continue. I want to make sure we finish this page in this particular video. Then in the next video, we'll proceed to the login page and the sign up page. All right. So the first thing we want to do in this particular page, let's remove this background colors. Right? Let's remove this background colors. Okay, so we have it this way. But before we leave the top, if we look at this project, we can see that there's a gradient color. This is light gray and this is dark gray. So let me just quickly add that to the top. I'll just say background is a linear gradient, so I'll say it's a linear gradient. So just so that I will not start cracking my head for color, let me go and pick the color. Let me just go and pick the color. So I use color variable. In the next video I will explain color variables. So this is for dark and what did I use for the gray? Let me just come here. Okay, so let me just pick them. All right, I don't want to start cracking my head for color. So I think we have that now. All right, very good. Now the next thing is, first of all, let's look at what the project. This is the project. Okay, so we can see that this H1 is having space. This content is having space from the top. So let's come here and add for this guy here, for this wrapper bottom, we want to add a space margin top. Okay, so there's going to be a space here. Okay, so let's come here for the wrapper bottom. And say margin top. Don't forget earlier I say margin top. Okay, let me just show you margin top. Short-term property to set values for thickness of the margin area. It's left. If left is omitted, let's just skip. So margin top is usually for adding space to the top or outside of an element, providing space outside of an element. When you want to park two cars, you want to make sure that there's a space between the first car and at the front and the car behind. Do you understand? So that's how margin top works. But for the padding is like creating space inside of the car, not outside of the car. Okay, so for the margin top, I want to say 2 rem. Would that not be too much? Let me just remove this here so that I don't have to be switching. So you can see 2 rem. Look at where 2 rem got to. Okay, let me just say 2.5, or let me just leave it at 2 rem because of screen issues. Later I'll explain that. Then that is that for that. Now for this, consider everything is centralized, right? Consider the H1, the P, everything is centralized, the button centralized. Okay, so I'll just say text align center. This text align will move everything to the center. Everything is now at the center. Consider the font we use here is actually not as beautiful as the one we used there. Okay, so let's come to our style sheet and address the issue of fonts once and for all. After this, our all proper styling, we just have to come and say body. Okay, I usually add my body, my fonts family. It's called font family. My font style, okay, or type. I usually add it to the body. All right. Now this I'm using for this particular project. I use inter font. So how do we get inter font? How do you get fonts? How do you usually get fonts? I usually use, you can get font from anywhere, but I usually use Google Fonts. Fonts.google.com. Alright, fonts. I hope network will not slow me down. So I'm using inter font. Let me just close this, or let me just leave it. So how do you search for fonts? Let's say I want to use what, let's say you want to use Inter. Just type Inter and you see Inter font will appear. Then just select the font, then select the weight of the font you want to use. So I've been using this font. That's why you can see that my weight is already selected. So I click on, I've selected 100 thin, 200. I've selected, which one did I select? So no, I didn't select those ones. I selected 300, 400, 500, 600, up to 8 and 900. So that's what I selected. So how do we get a font link? Okay, just for you to come here at this place and click on, I'm using, if you want to add it to your HTML, use link. If you want to add it to your CSS, use import. So I want to use import. Then you copy it here, okay, and come to your CSS and just include it anywhere in your script, but I usually add it here. Okay, so I can just use a comment. Comment is just for you to write, explain what you are doing. So I say Inter, that's the name of the font, Inter. Okay, Inter. Then I'll add the font here. So I've imported the font inside of my website. Then I can now get the font here. Okay, I'll just say font family for everything. I'll use Inter. In order for you to see how to declare it, you can see it here. CSS rules to specify families. Font family, Inter. Okay, Inter, comma. Then sans serif. Sans serif is like alternative fallback. In case the Inter font is not responding, this sans serif is also a beautiful font on website, on Web2 technology. Sans serif is also beautiful. It's a beautiful font. So if this Inter is not responding, or maybe their server is down, then this sans serif will work. So let me remove this Inter first and let's see how the sans serif works. You can look at this current one, these guys, and look at this sans serif. So sans serif is also looking good. This is the previous font. I just have to do this for those people who are. This is the previous font. So it's not as beautiful as sans serif. Look at sans serif, it's looking very okay. But look at this Inter. Look at the Inter. Inter. Comma. Don't forget comma. Add that comma. You have to add a comma. So Inter, Inter is also looking very good. All right, let's continue. So we've imported our font inside of our website by using the body tag and adding the font family. The reason I use the body is so that I don't have to be adding font or maybe H1, P1 and repeating fonts. Since I'm not using multiple fonts, if I'm using multiple fonts, I will then add it to maybe the H1 like this. And so say font size, font type or font family rather, then I'll call the font name. That's what I want to just want a single font in the whole of my website. Okay, let's proceed. So we have it here. So let's specify font size for this H1. For the font size for the H1. Now on this particular website we're using the same H1 all true, the same H1 all true, the same H1 all true. Am I sure? Am I right? Yes, I think so. So since we're using the same H1 all true, I'll just come here. Now what I want to do now is make sure you are using the same H1 size and color all true. Otherwise, don't do this. So since I'm using the same H1 size and color all true, I'll just say H1. Okay, I'll just say font size. Let's say 1.2. I think I use 1.2. Then let's say color. Now I'll teach you how to use color variable in the next video. Color. Let me use that. So maybe I should just pick this color. Let me just come here and pick the color. Bear with me. So that everything will look like what we have. Let me just pick the color from here. Color dark. So color. Let me just enter it here. Okay, for the H1. Alright, so let me see how it's appearing here. Alright. What screen is this? Galaxy 8. So it's looking small, very small here. So let me just add. Let me see the font size. Now that is why when you can see that I have to crack my head for font size and color. But if you are doing a project that you are using Figma, you don't have to do all of this cracking of your head. Don't worry. In this tutorial also, I'll teach you how to use Figma to design. Alright, to get correct design from the design you are being presented, given to work. Okay, so all of this design color is not our work as developers. It is the work of the product designer. That's what I keep telling people over and over again. Don't crack your head trying to come up with the design. You'll be frustrated. You are skillful yourself. You don't know you are skillful. How will you know you are skillful? Try and try and get somebody UI UX. You see that you can build a person UI. You're very beautiful. You are not a designer. Don't crack your head to design. Okay, so let's continue. All right, so what do I want to pick? I want to pick the font size. Let me just go look for the H1. So the font size I use 1.5. I use 1.5. I just come here and say 1.5. That's how it is. So let's say it's Figma. I just go to the Figma and see what the person used and just use it. All right, so 1.5. You can see it's looking the same. Then for this P, now look at this P. We have to take a deep breath, and begin banking journey. So from this end, there's a break, but we can see there's no break here. So let's use that break. Okay, let's add that break. That's the little now that brings us to our HTML. So let's add that break tag. BR is our break tag. Is called inline break tag. Is it inline? Inline tags, I think. Yeah. So you can see it here. Now good. Now so let's also, since we have the same paragraph color, the same paragraph all through, let's give the specified. Let's use our P here. Okay. So for this P, on this one I have font size 0.9 and color gray, then font weight. Let me just copy this. I don't want to be cracking my head. Let me just remove this color variable and use the color gray. I'm using color gray, right? So color gray, where's color gray? This. Okay, so I just add it here and put my whatever. So this is the font size 0.9, color this and that. So let's continue. Let's check. This is what we have. Can see it's looking the same. Now can see there's a space between H1 and P. All right, the space between H1 and P. Okay. Now this is what I will do. I will come to this P tag. Okay, now let's go. So let's design our button first. Let's design our button. So since we have just one button, okay, since we have just one button, though we'll be having multiple buttons because we can see there is a button here. Okay, there's a button there and there's also a button here. So let me just create a button, general button class. Let me say general btn. Let me add that class to the button class, general btn. Make sure you do copy. Make sure you are copying your class name when you are going from HTML to CSS. Okay, so let's say width of this guy of the general btn is always, let's say 100%. Let's see how it will look like here. So you can see that it's covering all the width of the screen. Okay, meanwhile this one is not covering all the width of the screen, and that is because for this wrapper, this wrapper bottom, I gave the wrapper bottom internal space, internal, not external. External is margin, internal is padding. That's why I give the wrapper bottom. So let's come here and say wrapper bottom. Let's give it padding of 0 from top. I'm using shorthand, so 0 and maybe 1.3 rem. I think is it 1.3 rem? Yes, 1.3 rem. I got it. 1.3 rem. So you can see that space has also appeared here. You can see the space, but that is looking very. But no problem. Let's continue. So the space has appeared. So you can see this space here. Let's use 1.5 for God's sake. Let's use 1.5. So the space has shown. All right. So let's style our button quickly. So we've gotten the width, which is 100%. Okay, then let's say height of this button, let's say 45%, 45 pixels rather, 45 pixels. Okay, what's the color for this button? Let me just get the color, primary color. The primary color is this. So let's say button color, that is background color, is what is this. Okay, we can see some borders for the color. So let's remove those borders. Where is it? Let's remove the border, none. Let's remove what again? Color. Let's add color. That's the text. The text inside. Let's say color white, right? Make sure it's white. I'd like to see this your work that I'm doing now. Okay. Then I have some border radius. What is the border radius for? You can see this curve at the edges. So I just say border radius. I think I always use 8 for button. So 8, you can see it. Then I think that is that for that. Now this guy here is dark in color. Then you can see this P tag here is looking. The weight is heavy. So let's go there. Let's go to the elements, the H1. let's add a class to this particular tag and call it what should I call it? Let's say info. Let's just call it info, since it's like an info. I'll say for the p, let's just come here and say p info. Okay, info, we just say weight, font weight should be what, 600. I think that will give us that, if I'm not mistaken. Then color should be, let the color be normal dark color. Okay, that's the color. So I think we've gotten that. Now let's provide these spaces. Let's provide the spaces. So I would like for, I make the mistake here because the space, is that supposed, it's not necessary actually. So let's provide the space between the h1 and the p first. So I'll just come to the p. Where do I have the p? So I have to target this p. I'll just have to give this class p, this p a class. Then I'll now say info, much like this guy here. Let's say let's say wrapper bottom p1. All right, let's just give it that class. You have to be very good at naming your naming conventions. You have to be good at naming. All right, so what do I want to give it? I want to give it a space to at the top. So I just imagine that's an external space, margin top. Let's say 1 rem. I usually use 1 rem for something like that. I hope 1 rem is not too much, so let's use 0.9 rem or 0.8 rem. 0.8 rem will work. That's why sometimes, don't worry, I'll try as much as possible to be providing Figma design that will be building. Okay, so I'll just have to fill everything there. So I'm using 0.5 rem. Okay, so let's come now for this. So we are left with the button and the p, right? So I think usually I usually group this into a particular group, and I'll give that a space, the group a space. So let's come here and just group it by using div, cut it, and also use div. Then I will give this div a class and call this wrapper bottom btn. Okay, so I will then give that div a space. Okay, I'll just imagine top. That should be maybe 2 rem. Is this it or this? Yeah. Okay, now this where we give 1.5 is now looking the padding for the wrapper bottom. Let's return it to, man, what? Okay, I think because okay, no need. So this is where we made mistake. I'm using shorthand, so margin 0. Let me explain the shorthand for you once and for all. Let me explain the shorthand. Did I save that? Yes. So margin 0 top and bottom. Okay, so I just need margin top, which is what, 2 rem. Yeah, so this is what we want. So let me return that back to, okay, so 1.5. all right, so that is what we want. All right, so the general btn, let me just increase the height. These are just normal thing. It's not as if it's just so that it will look beautiful a little. Okay, so let me also add font size for the btn. Let me see. Okay, this is looking okay. So for the button, just take a look at something. You can see that the space of this text is shrink together. Meanwhile, this one is a little bit spacious. The letters have space in between them. So that we use letter space. 0.1 was what I used, if I remember. So 0.1, where is it? You can see it here. So you can see that the space has been provided. Now the last thing we want to do for this place is look at this already own an account. The login is actually showing red color. So how do we add that to this? So since we have the login here, we'll be using span tag. Okay, then whatever part you want to edit, you want to make different, just add a span tag and add that part inside of the span tag. Then come here and locate the span. So since we gave this guy a class, I just say info then span. Just watch. I can just come and say .info span, just so that everything will be together in one place. I like to bring this guy under where I have the info. Then I'll now say color. Then this, I'm using color secondary, if I'm not mistaken, secondary color. We'll do color variables in the next, that is tomorrow, by the grace of God. Alright, so this is what we have. Now this is also having a margin top. Okay, the last paragraph is having a margin top. What do I use for the last paragraph? What do I use? Is that info? I use info, yeah. So I just say margin top. Then I think I use 0.5 frame, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I don't know if we were close enough, but you can see what we have. So I want to beg you to do this. Post it on under the comment section of this post. Whether you are, please post it on Instagram. Use hashtag xeoncodes. I know you know the name, hashtag xeoncode. If you are watching on YouTube and you want to follow my page on Facebook, check the description. You see a link to my Facebook page. All right, use hashtag xeoncode so that I can look at your work and I can know that okay, I'm trying in my teaching and I also improve on what I'm doing. I can assure you that if you follow this training step by step, the way it is, you actually gain a lot from it. So let me do one more adjustment. I can say that image is looking smaller compared to what we have. All right. So I'm proposing not doing this slide now because that is JavaScript. We'll do it later. But if you want me to do this slide tomorrow, drop a comment and say please do the slide tomorrow, and I'll do this slide for you tomorrow. I hope you've learned something today. All right. I'm very happy to teach you this. Okay, so don't forget, if you have question, you can drop it on the comments, or you message me personally. All right, but I also like for you to drop it on the comments or whatever way. I'll be ready to reply you, and even when I get up to 1 million followers, I'll try as much as possible to reply 1 million people. At least I'll be very happy that 1 million people are actually developers, web and app developers from me. That is very nice. So I would like to see you in the next class. Thank you very much. Drop a comment, like this video, and share this video. Thank you very much. God bless.